MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network continues. Thanks to Robin Black for joining us in studio. Say what you will about the CM Punk signing, and I did, I was on the radio the other night. It's amazing, man. Like, just the reaction. Yeah, Robbie Lawler was great. Pettis is great, but how about that CM Punk? Everywhere I go on the street, people aren't asking me, hey, Morency, who do you like, John Jones and Cormier? And by the way, Cormier's going to smash him. I'm telling you guys this. He's going to smash him. But we got time to get to that. Let's bring in the author of Fightnomics. Great book. We've been giving them out. We got a couple of left in the holiday season here. We appreciate Reed Kuhn's time, and we appreciate the gifts. Mr. Reed Kuhn joins us. Always a pleasure, Reed. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm geared up for a big weekend of fights.
Yeah, so am I. I'm jacked up. I really am. Friday's card is intriguing. The Ultimate Fighter, it's always fun to see people realize their dreams and come to pass. But since we don't really know who the Ultimate Fighter participants are going to be, let's take a look a little bit at Stevens and Oliveira and Cruikshank and KJ Nunes. I'll tell you what, this Cruikshank KJ Nunes fight should be pretty entertaining, shouldn't it, Reed? Both guys like to stand and bang. Cruikshank surprised us all last time with some takedowns, but he wants to take your head off, and KJ Nunes is a boxer, stand-up guy. Should be a pretty entertaining fight.
This has striking duel written all over it. It should be a lot of fun. And remember, this TUF finale card will be in a small cage, so there's not a lot of room to run around. These guys are going to have to engage, and it should be a lot of fun because they are both very skilled strikers. Great
point that you raised. Great point. And you've talked about it. You've written about this. How much impact does a small cage have? And especially guys with Cruikshank and Nunes. You got Stevens and Oliveira. These guys are going to be forced to stand in the pocket and fight, aren't they?
Yeah, and in the main event, that one is more of a stylistic contrast because Stevens is clearly the power striker, a very aggressive guy, but Oliveira's takedown, his submission game is top-notch. So that one is more of a chess match in terms of position, who gets to fight where, but it's equally interesting. I mean, these two fights on the TUF finale card are really awesome matchups.
I look at Oliveira here, and the dude has only lost to top guys. He really doesn't have, it's not like Faber where he's only lost to top guys, but he's also beaten top guys. The Bronx doesn't really have that signature win yet. And I'm not saying that Stevens is a signature win, but he needs this fight, in my opinion. And they all need the fight, Reed. But you know what I'm saying. He needs to win this fight, Oliveira. There was so much hype around him and promise around him. And they fed him to the wolves, man. He was fighting, real vets that had been around that were much older than him. But he's got to win this fight.
He does. I still think this guy has some potential, and I think he's only 25. He joined the UFC when he was still very young. I think he's still getting better. And for him to hang around with Frankie Edgar for 3 rounds, and actually by the end of the fight, he was becoming more competitive as the fight went on. So I still think there's some upside to this guy, and we have not seen the best Bronx yet.
It's amazing, isn't it? Hey, poor Bronx. You look at the dudes that he's fought, then you look at Conor McGregor. It's amazing. Some guys you'll get a little bit sheltered a little bit, and we'll let you climb the ladder. Other guys, hey, get in there, kid. Well, let's see what happens with you. Interesting. I'm going with Oliveira. The Cruikshank Nunes fight, real tough to pick, but man, you don't have to bet every fight. But if I got to give a pick right now, I'm going to go with the Detroit Superstar.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you on both cases.
So let's get into this Fox card, which is freaking great. And I'm a bitter, jaded, degenerate gambler, so I don't fall for countdown shows and when they're trying to, lead you down a path that this fighter is going to compete with that fighter. But I'll tell you what, I watched the countdown show for this Fox card, and I'm all jacked up. I'm a fan of the heavyweights. I like watching the heavyweights throw down. If you're a fan of the heavyweights, this is it's a heavyweight palooza with Nate Diaz sprinkled in. How can you not love this?
They made this as fan-friendly as possible, and for a show on Big Fox, as they call it, they definitely pulled out all the stops. They want to stack this one up, and this is for the casual fan. This is precisely geared toward the average person at a bar who didn't even know UFC was on. It's kind of earlier in the night. It's not really the same pay-per-view style. Out here on the West Coast, the prelims start as early as 12:30 in the afternoon. So this is geared towards someone flipping through the channels or being at the sports bar, and they will not be disappointed because there is loads of finishing potential and talent and big guys that like to throw down.
And you know what's perfect about this? There's no college football. You've got the Army-Navy game earlier in the day, and that's been a problem, for Fox Sports 1 and the Fox affiliates, in which college football just does better numbers for them. It doesn't matter. I think you could have George St. Pierre fighting the Pope, and look, the Ducks are playing the Bruins. You know what I mean? So it's good. It's smart of Fox to set this up. College football ends. All you got is Army-Navy during the day, and then boom, a lot of eyeballs on television. I look at Junior Dos Santos. I used to say there was JDS, Kane, and everybody else, but I think Fabricio Verdum has earned his way into that conversation. But even just watching the countdown show and watching Junior hit the bag, it really is amazing, isn't it? Man, this guy's hands are freaking awesome.
I would argue that he is the best pure striker in the heavyweight division, maybe that we've ever seen in the heavyweight division. His metrics are off the charts. I mean, he excels in every single category that you can perform in with striking. And he's even, he's still pulling out some tricks. We saw him with the spinning wheel kick knockout of Mark Hunt. I mean, I didn't expect to see that. I knew he was good to begin with, but that even shocked me. If you're going to beat him, you have to make it a dirty fight. You have to close the range. You have to grind him down, because I don't think anybody just wants to sit on the end of those punches, because he is so fast.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done. Cain Velasquez was able to do it. Can Miocic do it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And, I wasn't sure about Miocic, if he was just another journeyman heavyweight or whether he was legitimate. I mean, Cleveland State's not a wrestling power or anything like that, but he's got those good hands. He is a good athlete. I like Stipe's mental game. I like his confidence factor. And, a pretty impressive win against Roy Nelson and Gonzaga as well. We got to give the guy credit for this, but I just think JDS is on another level.
He is, and he survived well against Roy Nelson and Gonzaga. Those guys, they hit hard for sure, but they're also a little bit slower. They're one-punch power type hitters. And Miocic is a good athlete, and he's fast. He was in and out. He had the perfect game plan to face those guys. Now, against Junior Dos Santos, it can't be the same game plan. He can't go in and out and try to trade boxing strikes with Junior Dos Santos, because I don't think anybody can do that. But you mentioned his wrestling base. So far, he hasn't used it much, but when he did, it was successful. And I think that's the trick here. If he was going to win, he has to use that early and often. He has to wear Junior Dos Santos down. And maybe those wars that JDS was in against Cain Velasquez and even against Mark Hunt, the damage may be accumulating, and you never know when someone's going to hit that tipping point. Miocic, I think he's still a little bit fresher as an athlete.
Reed Kuhn with us. Reed, unfortunately, we got to wrap it up. So in 15 seconds, Diaz, Dos Anjos, Overeem, Struve. I'm taking a shot with Struve, and I'm a big Diaz fan, but I think Dos Anjos is the most underrated fighter in the division.
I agree with you on RDA. I think he grinds this one out. And Stefan Struve, it'll be interesting to see where the line ends, but he definitely has potential if we see him come in healthy.
Reed, it's always a pleasure, my man. Happy holidays. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
There's, Overeem saying, I'm going to finish this fight in 30 seconds. That's my plan. That's your problem, Overeem. You're always trying to finish guys in 30 seconds. You don't, and then they finish you. Give me the kid, Struve. We'll come back and wrap things up. We got our videos of the week as well.